Yes, sir. Welcome back to another Chop It Down film session. I'm your host of Chop It Down podcast, Molly Mo, Jamal Force. And listen, we're going to break down that Commanders offense in the desert. 40 burger on the Arizona Cardinals, man. Hell of a day. And I think for Washington, one of the biggest things there was the ground game and how effective it was against the Arizona Cardinals and how it played really good in terms of the complementary aspect for the passing game, J.D. Daniels and Kliff Kingsbury. So let's go ahead and tap into that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Chop It Down film session up right now. So in order to understand exactly how this day went, I'm going to break this up from the run game to the pass game. The run game throughout the day was so effective in terms of how they executed, but also the different looks that they gave. It was able to offset or just play complementary to how they were able to be effective in the passing game. So we're going to break this up and we're going to show the run game first, a couple plays throughout the day that just shows how effective they were in the pass game, how effective Jaden was as a passer, and how efficient Kliff was as a play caller. First up is going to be the sixth play of the game, B-Rob's toss. If you remember, the first thing that they did when they got to the line of scrimmage was go no huddle, tempoed, right? And as soon as that ref cleared the line of scrimmage for the substitutions, they snapped the ball. And you get a pin pull concept. It's not unique, but I think it's different from my eyes because typically in your pin pull, you have an offensive lineman pulling, right? But in this instance, it's just the tight end and the wide receiver going to work. So good job by Terry McLaurin getting that pin block, right? Or that crack down. And John Bates just leaking out and being the lead blocker for B-Rob. Takes a hit, but it doesn't matter. A couple plays later, B-Rob's touchdown. When you're running inside, right, you gotta sometimes have effective doubles, effective combos. And on this play, you're gonna see your guard and center have a really good combination block that springs Brian Robinson, Nick Allegretti, Tyler Biadasz, who I thought Tyler had an excellent game against the Arizona Cardinals. I think overall is having a really good season with Washington, right? Allegretti gets that combo block, gets the zero tech / nose guard out of the gap. They create this huge run lane, huge enough, right, for B-Rob. Great execution up front, right on that first level. And then you see Allegretti climb to that second level, getting that key second level block, and B-Rob follows him into the end zone. Execution on point, easy 6-7 yard gain for a touchdown for Brian Robinson. And he followed every single block that he's supposed to. So this is one of Jeremy McNichols' first couple of runs of the day. 1st and 10, you get 6 yards, right? But look at how the offensive line is performing in terms of you got your pullers and you have your climber, right? And Sam Cosby. So they combo the nose guard, zero tech, and climb up to the second level. But there's a lot of traffic down there. Also, your offensive lineman that's pulling, and Nick Allegretti, loses on the wham block, or was supposed to be a kick out, honestly. Anyway, but you see Brandon Coleman, your left tackle, really good down block, right? And that's what Jeremy McNichols sees as his second option. And he bursts through the gap, gets a hard 6 yards, bruh. And that's how you want your running back running downhill. Very physical. Your 1st and 10 becomes 2nd and 4 because Brandon Coleman, as your backside blocker, is able to wash that defensive lineman down the line of scrimmage. And even if he got in, like, of course, you know, dude came back in and got a play on the ball carrier. But at that point, he's already 4 yards downfield. Brandon Coleman did his job. Really good job from Brandon Coleman. Really good job from the rookie. So now we get a really good job of power on this play. Let's go ahead and run it. Another moment where you just see B-Rob executing or finding the right reads, but you see this 2 kickouts up front. This might be a trap play, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes my eyes fool me. But typically, you know, when they leave a lineman free, right, like they did with Cosme pulling up to the second level, it's typically a trap, right? But so that's kind of how this worked. Good job from Sam Cosme and Ben Sinnott on 7. Now, what I would have loved to see is what would have happened if, now they got 7, they took care of 7, which is good, but I would have loved to see what happened if one of those guys, Sam Cosme, I actually think Sam Cosme, I don't know who I was thinking of, but if one of those was to keep climbing and somebody to occupy 7, because they doubled 7, but I don't think that they were supposed to double 7. I think somebody was supposed to keep climbing, but I think B-Rob could have housed this. I didn't show y'all the end zone angle, but I think B-Rob could have housed that play, and that would have been interesting to see if he'd have got past that second level. All right, so now you just see B-Rob manipulating the defense. You get some good first level reaches on this zone run, right? Your backside offensive lineman, your left tackle, Corn Lucas, reaching 92. You get a reach on 98. So now you're talking about Brian Robinson setting up the defenders, and I want you to see his motion. We'll just let it play, and then we can talk about it. He's creating the run lanes for himself, manipulating defenders out of the gap. I can't say for sure, but I think the way he's moving, he sees 7. And I think that the biggest thing with running backs, if you're a really good running back, is how naturally good you are at getting people out of your intended run gaps, right? He did this in college a lot too. So you'll see him like that lean, like he's about to bend this run, right? Get 7 out of the gap. So let's kind of look at 7 and B-Rob at the same time. And even you can see it with Budda Baker as well. That's excellent manipulation to get your intended yards. I think he ends up picking on this one about 7 or 8 yards. So really good rep from Brian Robinson, and good first level zone blocking from your offensive lineman. All right, another one up front. This is a 4th and 1 conversion. Remember I mentioned those double teams up front. Here you go with another one. You get a combo up front, or a true double, honestly. They just drag these guys back. Who is this? Sam Cosmi and Tyler Biadasz. And McNichols gets you for 16 on 4th and 1. Really good rep from McNichols. Really good rep from Sam Cosmi, who actually takes on 2 defenders if you see it, right? Just engulfs them. Excellent. Yeah, this is the 3rd play of the game. You get Zacchaeus running in a motion from the outside down to the slot. And whether it's anticipation from Kliff that they're going to run man coverage on 3rd down, you know, that's just good execution. You get Noah Brown running a corner route, and his corner route running that inside stem overtakes that slot corner, that now slot corner who was responsible for Zacchaeus, and gets him in traffic. So Zacchaeus is wide open. Really good execution from Noah Brown. Good play call from Kliff, and obviously good ball placement from Jaden to keep the drive alive. A couple plays later, you get a spot concept from Kliff. This is really good processing from Jaden Daniels. I like the decision that he made. I like Noah Brown also in how he settled in this zone void, right? You get Zach Ertz going straight to the flat, but Noah recognizing the coverage, right? But also knowing that tight end is trying to get to the flat. He just sits right behind him, right? He doesn't carry his route any too further. Look where Jaden is at the time that Noah is turning around, right? Good ball placement away from the linebacker who's still sitting down. Let's look at this angle. And that was a 2nd and 8, and you pick up 6 yards. Now you're in a 3rd and 2. So really good rep from Jaden Daniels. You don't get a big game, but you get smart processing, and you get the sticks, the yardage. You keep the defense on their heels. I mean, you're just getting yards. Let's run this, and then let's talk about it. Terry toe tap, ain't it? But this is just a good leverage read from Jaden Daniels. You get a cornerback who's running bail coverage or using bail coverage against Terry, who's running an out route. Good processing, posting that processing from Terry, just recognizing, from Jaden, recognizing that, you know, that out route is going to beat bail coverage. I just have to get the ball there. Really good placement from him. And then, boom. One thing I wanted to show too, I didn't point it out specifically, the way that defenders or defenses are going to try to cover Jaden is going to be special or a challenge for them moving forward, because you're talking about a person in Terry who essentially is like super fast, a mobile quarterback. And if I said Terry, I meant Jaden, sorry. But you're talking about a person in Jaden who's a super mobile quarterback, but he's really smart with his arm and how he processes and reads the field. So like, how do you play him when you want to run man coverage? Do you use a spy or do you use a hook player? And that person in the middle of the field that's going to take away crossers and those over routes and things like that. That 3rd play, they tried to use 2-man coverage. But if you notice number 7 in the middle of the field, right, he's a spy. He's not necessarily playing hook, right? He has only eyes on Jaden. So does that leave the middle of the field open for future situations like this? Possibly. And I think that's kind of the deal with how defenses are going to try to find a way to stop Jaden from scrambling and taking off. How do you work or take advantage of that, what would have been that extra man in the middle of the field? How do you take advantage of that as an offense? For Kliff to find out, that's going to be his job. Ain't my job. But it is something that's interesting because Jaden Daniels being that special of a player creates a problem, an additional problem for the defense. All right, here we go. Another play 16. I think this is 3rd and 2. Zero coverage. So you get 6 rushers. Very good pass protection up front. They pick everything up well. Brandon Coleman stays outside. This is interesting because you get Jeremy McNichols not even hesitating to take on big man number 90. Gets him off his feet. Jaden Daniels understands how much time he has in the pocket. Just gets his guy in the one-on-one, trusts him on a slant. Gets you first down. Change your movement. Good rep from the offensive line, but also good rep from Terry winning at the line of scrimmage and getting that first down. Here's one thing that I want to show for Jaden and why I actually think that he threw that interception to Terry. Now you pick up a few yards here, you're gonna be you're stopped short on the first down, right? But on this play, you get middle of the field open. You get a cover 4, and look at Luke McCaffrey at the top of your screen. He is wide open as soon as he breaks. This is the drive before the pick, and Jaden misses it, right? And I think ultimately what this does for Jaden when he sees this again is like, I can't miss this 2 times in one game. So let's go to the play where he actually does throw the interception. It's about 6 plays later. 6 plays later, you get a cover 2 now, so not a cover 4. But he sees that middle of the field open again. And while the broadcaster said it was the right read, I don't necessarily disagree, because in middle of the field open, like in theory, you want to hit that seam shot because that is exactly who like the void of the defense is, right? But in this moment, check it down. But I think the safeties played this well in terms of over the top. Number 21 played both splits well in terms of the boundary receiver, or the receiver near the boundary, and Terry. He actually split the difference pretty well, in my opinion. And then you got Buda Baker closing towards the hash marks. I don't think there was any time in which this was a good throw. But, you know, 1 interception, it is what it is. No big deal. But I think in this moment, and why I showed you the first play that he missed to Luke, he said, I'm not going to miss this again, and I'm going to throw it to Terry. In reality, you know, you don't have to be super aggressive there. You can just check that down to McNichols. But not my job to correct him. I just hope that he understands that moving forward, that he doesn't have to chase the big play because he missed it on the previous drive. If it's there, it's there. If it ain't, so let's run this one and then talk about it. Good rep from Noah. Good rep from Jaden. Remember, I talked about in previous episodes just his presence in the pocket, right? He knows how much time he has. And I think he did a really good job in this game. Just same with Cincinnati, right? As he's growing and developing each week. Not necessarily scrambling or moving to run. He's keeping his eyes downfield. Noah Brown running that over route, gets open behind on that second level, right? But he misses them initially, which is okay. See some initial pressure. Just simply rolls out a little bit off platform and hits Noah. You're talking about what is this, 3rd and 13, and you get 14 with Noah? That's a efficient offense. Is efficient offense, and when you're hard to stop and you're on fire, bruh, you know, it makes the day easier. Another instance of good processing from Jaden. Terry running that deep curl route. Ball is out almost as soon as he gets to his break point. Good protection up front. Now, the run action, by the way, has been in place throughout the day, right? And I think issues or things like that, and also how the protection is for Jaden. You're in 12 personnel here, or 13 personnel, excuse me. You get your tight end at the top of to the left side of the formation, and you got your 2 tight ends at the bottom, and John Bates and Ben Sinnott. Like the protection scheme that they have throughout the day, how they use them, how they use their 3 tight end sets were really good, to say the least. But like getting in run looks and running pass and play action off of those keeps your defense on the heels. But when you have the tight ends who are just that good in terms of their versatility, it allows instances like that to even happen. All right, so let's kind of show another look at 13 personnel. Now you have a single back look, running play action, boot action again. And now this is Jaden taking an easy 10 yards. This is 2nd and 1, right? And the influence of your run game, right, is actually playing an impact or being impactful to how your defenders are running or reacting, right? Look at the spot drop from number 7, or is that Buddha? No, that's number 7. Okay, so number 7 and your slot cornerback, right? When they realize that it's not a run on 2nd and 1, they spot drop, turn their back to the quarterback. Look at where their backs are in this moment that Jaden has already turned around with the football. They forget that he's a runner. Easy 10 yards, and that's kind of the threat that this offense is overall. Like, if you want to turn your back to Jaden, he's smart enough to take the football and just get the first down himself. And he doesn't have to use a lot of energy to do it. Is that a slide, by the way? Hold on. Did I miss that? He just slid, right? He just slid. A couple more plays, and we are out of here. This is a choice route with Zacchaeus out of the backfield. Now, this is an interesting wrinkle. Having your running back, having your receiver. I don't think they show it here, but he motioned out of the backfield to the tight alignment. Now you have a linebacker on him. I think this is 14 yards. Let's see. Oh, not 9-yard conversion. First down. OZ's breakout game. But if you watch the film session on OZ, you know he had this in his bag. What, 6 catches, 80-some yards? He had this in his bag. I ain't surprised. Now, the 2 most impressive throws of the day was late in the game. Killed them. This is actually after a holding. So this is a 2nd and 15. They got it down to from 1st and 20 down to 2nd and 15. And Luke McCaffrey and Jaden kill him for 17. Drive continues. Good quickness from Luke at the top of his route. Creates enough separation. Again, Jaden with enough time back here. You got a 5-man rush. And they pick it up just fine. 5-on-5. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah. A dot. Let's look at it from the end zone angle. Matter of fact, let's actually show some love to the offensive line, who picks up this stunt really well. Tyler Biadasz and Sam Cosme, they handle that pass off excellently. Jaden takes that window, throws a dart. Buddha couldn't believe he caught it. And now we get Terry on the TD. Really good throw. He was kind of late on this one, but I think this is also the culmination of like showing his actual velocity in this moment, right? Like he still threw it with enough velocity, arm strength, that it got there fast enough before the defender could even make a play on the football. So really good rep from Terry. Quickness at the top of his route as well. But then Jaden still seeing it and throwing that dart to Terry. So that's gonna wrap it up on this film session. I think one of the biggest things for this offense is just understanding how much like the ceiling has been blown up. Like we don't know what the ceiling of this offense is going to be, and I mean that in a very good way. I think that Kliff and Jaden are still finding their groove. I still think that there's unlimited ways in which they can create more explosive plays and more looks for defense to worry about, but also the way that they're designing and packaging up these personnel groupings is very interesting. You saw how effective Zacchaeus can be in this offense, and I think that adds to the weapon set that they already have in Luke McCaffrey, Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, and obviously Austin Eckler when he comes back in terms of the passing game. Noah Brown as well, obviously, but they're finding their way with this offense. They're finding their way with these personnel groupings. I mean, that's not to say that these are elite weapons per se. They're not elite, but you know they're good enough, and they're pretty good in terms of being able to win in this offense. And obviously the run game, you can't ignore how effective the run game is for Washington, and how you can have somebody in B-Rob and obviously Austin Eckler who comes back, but also Jeremy McNichols who can come in and really step up if needed. He can hit the holes that the offensive line creates for him. The way that they're creating these gaps, the way they're getting to these gaps and getting to these to the perimeter from your center side, and these double pulls with your center guards, like the way that they're creating these run lanes, creating these gaps for these running backs is pretty impressive right now. So they're on a hot streak, and I think I really don't see a time in the near future where things slow down for these guys. So pretty impressive outing against the Arizona Cardinals. Cleveland Browns up next. Let's see if they can continue, but so far so good. Everything is clicking with these guys. But that's gonna wrap it up for us. Hope you all enjoyed the film session. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We up out of here, man. Until next time. Peace.
Chop it down, chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.